Hi, I'm Julie Lynn Murray and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest, Simone. Simone has been 27 years in the wine business. He is a wine expert, executive winemaker here at Chateau Elan, as well as vice president of the Georgia Wine Producers. Welcome, Simone.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so you're going to give us a crash course on wine. Is that?
Yeah. I'm trying to, pack in 15 minutes the history of the world because, wine.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what was your path to get here?
Yeah, so I was born in a vineyard, basically. In northern Italy is just a huge vineyard, like such as all Italy itself. And then it skipped the generation. My father didn't want to go into the vineyards and winemaking. I think my grandfather was a little too strict. That's why
So
he went out and no, not for me. And then it just passed into me. I started food science, and then I was just drive into the winemaking world. And of course, if you have just a little interest into winemaking, you are in Italy, then you become a winemaker.
That brings me to my first question. What is the biggest difference between East Coast and West Coast wines?
It's like saying the difference between Australia and Italy, or Northern Italy, or Southern Italy with Northern France. So we're talking about completely different areas and scenarios. So in the wine world, there are 6,000 varieties. If you can mention 10, you're lucky. There is 6,000 actually.
Wow.
And so everything is adapted to a specific soil and a specific weather. So East Coast, tremendously different from the West Coast, and therefore also the wine you can find are not only stylistically different, but are also different varieties.
Okay.
So different style, I would call the West Coast power and the East Coast elegance.
Okay, that's good to know. I did not know that. And what would you say is different about like the Georgia grapes?
So region like Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, they have the unique opportunity of choosing their path, meaning that these areas are challenging in viticulture. So it's harder to grow grapes in the East Coast than in the West Coast. So you really have to be precise when it comes to varieties that you grow, so that you can express the full potential of the variety and of the territory in a very good quality wine.
Can you explain to me, like, what are all the different types of wine, like within the reds and within the whites?
In the world, we have 6,000 varieties, as we said before. Wow. So these 6,000 varieties are probably 50-50 are white and 50 are white, 50 are reds. And then you find the rosé in between. And then you find the style: port, sparkling, red, young, red aged, white, sweet, or dry. So I would say the main differences into the wines are stylistically and then varieties. Okay, so you have these two blocks. A Chardonnay doesn't smell like a Sauvignon Blanc. A Cabernet doesn't smell or taste like a Pinot Noir. But at the same time, they have the same kind of production technique. So the wines, probably the most charming factor of the all wine, because at the end, wine is alcohol and water and some color and some flavor.
Right.
But the charming factor of the wine is that there are so many nuances and so many differences, and it's up to the winery and it's up to the territory to recreate and to make something very special and unique.
So one of my most important questions, and I think a lot of people out there have this question, is why do some wines give you terrible headaches or hangovers and others don't?
There is one main factor that is actually provoking the hangover and the headache, sometimes even instant headache, and I call that sulfites. Now, people have different sensitivities to sulfite. Someone is very reactive, like me, and some other is not. So you can tolerate more or less. But the main reason, assuming that you're not drinking a full case of wine, which would be responsible for your little hangover the next day. But other than that, it should be, in my opinion, the sulfite. And when I say my opinion, is that after drink and produced probably close to 25 million bottles. Wow. in my life. I now came to the conclusion that you can produce wine without sulfite or with a very, very limited amount of sulfite, which is not going to give you any hangover, is not going to give you any headache unless you're really sensitive. So when I'm talking about producing healthy wine, the absence or limited use of sulfite is the key player in my old technique, and I do believe sulfite are the responsible of the headache.
Tell me, what dictates the price of a bottle of wine? Is it the fermentation? Is it the grape? Is it the marketing? Like, what should make me buy one bottle over the other?
Okay. All the three components are important into deciding the price point. So yes, grapes and areas, viticultural areas. So perhaps you're in Napa Valley, and in Napa Valley, because of the appellation, because the Napa Valley is very famous marketing wise, then the Cabernet Sauvignon grapes in Napa Valley, they cost a lot more, maybe 5 times more than the same Cabernet grapes coming from 20 miles far from Napa Valley. The reason is marketing. You can put Napa Valley on your bottle as an appellation, and all of a sudden you can sell your wine $10 or $30 more because of the appellation. Okay, so that's a very big reason. Technique-wise, in the winemaking, how that has an impact into the pricing. Red wine are usually more expensive than white wine.
Why is that?
Because number one, you keep the wines longer in stock to age. So that's a fixed cost that is going to add up to the final price of the wine. Also, you use barrel, at least. I use barrel on all red wine. One barrel produces 30 cases of wine. One barrel is about $1,300, and you have to buy that every year. Okay, so it's that has a big impact in the final bottle. Not only, but barrel evaporates, so you have to refill each barrel. So on 200 barrels you have in your cellar, every month you lose 1 barrel in the air. That's just wine gone. Now the good thing is that what goes in the air is water contained into the wine, right, inside the barrel, and so the wine concentrates itself. And so the reason why we're using barrel, although we're losing wine, is because it concentrates the good thing of the wine. So the wine becomes if it's good, it becomes better with time in the barrel itself.
What differentiates one wine versus another? It can't always be like the price, right? Because I've had expensive wine, not expensive like $1,500 expensive, like $25 expensive, and it wasn't great. And then I've had wine that was like maybe $12 and it was phenomenal.
There's a big limbo of wine between $12 and $30 where you can find anything and everything. Prices is not actually an indication of quality at that stage, okay? Because you can find brands that decided just randomly to place themselves at $25. That doesn't mean that wine is better than the $12 wine. So long story short, you have to know your brand. You have to experience yourself. There's nothing you can do to understand if that is better than this if you don't try and taste it. Now, there is actually a mark. And I'm talking about retail pricing, okay? So you go Total Wine or you go grocery stores, etc., and you make your choice of wine. There is a price point which I believe being $35 for domestic product, where if you don't find good wine above that price, then it's obviously a mistake from the winery and from the retailer too to have chosen that wine and to have placed it at that price point. But the probability that you drink well above $35 on domestic wine is very high. When it comes to international wine and you want to try Italy, France, Spain, Australia, well, that is a different story. Usually those prices are always very high, mostly in US. So you have to be prepared to spend, to my opinion, above $45 in order to make sure you are drinking a good product. Below that, it's a guessing game. You really don't know unless you know exactly the producer and you made your researches.
Okay, so explain to me about vintages, because you always see the year on the wine bottle. What does that mean?
It's extremely important remember, you grow grapes, outside, outdoor, and the season can be really unpredictable. You can have extremely hot season, extremely cold season, extremely rainy season, or dry. So that depending on how the season evolve from March to October, then you have completely different profile on the grapes. You have grapes with more sugar, with more concentration, or with less sugar, less concentration. So vintages are extremely important because they tell you what to expect from the wine. So if you go in the high-end area, the vintages of the same wine have different prices because some vintages were better than other vintages. So if you go in the book of the Bordeaux or the Barolo, you have the last 50 vintages described as best, poor, medium, high-end, etc., etc. And based on that, you find different prices too, and the quality is extremely different as well.
So tell me, does the color of wine have anything to do with the taste?
Typically, 80% of the time, when you see a deep, intense color, then you know that you will expect some powerful and heavy body. When you see a light color, typically is also a lighter wine.
So tell me, what are tannins?
Tannins are the responsible for the big impact of tannins is the astringency. So when you drink wine and it dries your mouth, basically it's very astringent, is because the tannin are reacting with your mouth. And so suddenly you need either to eat something or to have a glass of water, etc. So tannin, for the most part, do that to whoever is drinking it. But tannins also have other activities, such as they are natural antioxidants. So in replacing the use of sulfite, which are antioxidants, you can actually enhance the action of the natural tannins contained into the grape, so they will do what the chemical would do. So they will protect the wine because they are there. So tannins, yes, they give you that astringency, and part of the tannins is also the color, is just a component of the tannins. But tannins are extremely important to me because they are the natural antioxidant component of the grapes itself.
See, you learn something new every day. So what do you do here at Chateau Elan that makes your wines very unique?
I think that there is two things. The wine are unique, but the experience is unique too. You don't expect coming in Georgia to have a choice of 29 wines of very different styles. So my decision of making very different styles and with very different varieties was because, as I mentioned previously, you're free to decide your style in a growing winemaking area such as the East Coast, as long as you guarantee the quality of the product at the end. So other than having 29 wines from probably 30 different varieties that I grow both in Georgia and in California, so that's the unique process. Everything is processed over here, but the grapes are grown in the state, and we are the largest producer of Georgia-grown grapes, of wine from Georgia-grown grapes. And then we also harvest in California, we transport the grapes over here, and we make the wine over here. The reason is everything has to grow in the right place in order for me to give you the best quality. So that's pretty unique to find such a diversified offer. We also have 3 different programs with abroad wineries. One is in Tahiti. So in the middle of the ocean, we make wine from pineapple over there. Yes, I'm working together with that company that makes fruit juices from the fruit grown in the island, and as well a pineapple sparkling wine that we offer uniquely here at Chateau Elan. As well, I have 2 other twin programs in Italy for the Moscato and Dolce Rosso, 2 unbelievable wines that we only have over here. So the program is very unique, and the way I make wine with the extremely low use of sulfite, no filter, no fining agent, vegan certified. All the muscadine wine are vegan certified. We are the first winery in the southeast to have been certified vegan. It's just a matter of healthy and sustainable technique, and that's what we do here through Gaudio Line.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for educating us. Please stay tuned for our part 2 series where Simone gives us a crash course on wine tasting. Have a wonderful day.
Well, you too.
Thank you. Cheers.
My pleasure.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button.
Cheers.